Hello, everybody. It's really nice to be here in lovely Madrid. Can you hear me okay? Beautiful. Well, as Sophia just mentioned, I'm going to tell you the story about BULLDOG, and I think it'll be a lot better for you if I do it in English, so bear with me because my Spanish isn't the best, so we're going to proceed. If I can, I'd like to start today, before I get into the story about BULLDOG and make this as concise and exciting for everybody as possible, I'm going to start with a video, just a couple of minutes to tell you a little bit about the story, and then I'll expound on that when I speak, so please bear with me. If I can have the video, please.
You create your own universe as you go along.
In 2007, former investment banker Anshuman Vohra set out to create something bold and distinct. Noticing an opportunity in a growing yet still underserved category, he looked to bring a new attitude and approach to the traditionally stodgy world of super premium gin. His mission? To revolutionize and expand the gin category beyond the conventional boundaries, to create the preeminent clear spirit for a new generation of consumers fatigued by the oversaturation of vodka and dated gins. Introducing BULLDOG Gin, the smoothest and most mixable gin in the world.
My tastes are simple. I am easily satisfied with the best.
The commitment to perfection starts just outside Manchester, UK, where BULLDOG is handcrafted at G&J Greenham, a world-class English distillery that has been making the highest quality gin for over 250 years. Each batch is mixed in traditional copper pots with 100% British wheat and water. BULLDOG is then distilled with a distinctive blend of 12 botanicals, handpicked from 8 countries around the world. These include Chinese dragon eye, Turkish white poppy seeds, and Chinese lotus leaves, all being exclusive to BULLDOG. The result is a supremely smooth and mixable premium gin, which defies convention with its balanced flavor and crisp finish.
Without courage, all other virtues lose their meaning.
Launching BULLDOG as an independent brand in a highly competitive industry with a challenging route to market, courage was a necessity from the start. The inspiration for BULLDOG came from Sir Winston Churchill, an independent and brazen icon himself, and the British BULLDOG spirit that he embodied. Building the BULLDOG brand meant using this audacious spirit in every aspect, developing a brazen personality, a culture, a way of being, the mods versus rockers and British invasion era of the 60s, Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side, from punk to post-punk to grunge rock of the 90s, BULLDOG solidifies an evolving but timeless attitude that speaks for truth, revolution, and the undying vigor. Simply, BULLDOG Gin was bred to be the modern elixir of our modern generation.
Success always demands a greater effort.
In late 2007, BULLDOG launches in full force in New York. Expanding throughout Europe in 2008, sales volumes soar, and BULLDOG establishes itself in the upper echelon of the premium gin category. By the end of 2013, BULLDOG rapidly adds distribution in over 25 countries, and on the heels of growing success, BULLDOG links a global distribution deal with Grupo Campari to expand its efforts worldwide.
The price of greatness is responsibility.
What started with one man's bold vision and unrelenting determination is now an audacious movement that forges on. This is the BULLDOG spirit. Surrender to nothing.
Great, thank you. So, as I was saying, it's a special opportunity for me to be in Spain, which is the capital of the world for gin and tonics. Spain is our biggest market, and I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the BULLDOG story. So, I moved to the United States in 1992 to play tennis. I wanted to be a professional tennis player, and in the late 1990s, when I was in college and graduating, and I knew I was not going to be a pro tennis player, the extremely smart people in the late 90s went to Silicon Valley. The second tier went to Wall Street. So I went to Wall Street, and I started working at JP Morgan doing mergers and acquisitions, which was a great sort of entree for me into the business world to understand how companies are valued, how to start with a company and understand what makes it tick. But after a while, I became a bit disenfranchised with the world of banking, and what excited me more was meeting entrepreneurs who had created something, who had an idea, who had a vision for something that they started with a sheet of paper, and they made a drawing, and then they somehow turned into a product in a company that was sold around the world. And so over time, my friends and I became infatuated with the idea of doing that. And the favorite time as a junior banker was Friday afternoon for a 3-martini lunch. Usually it ended up being like 6 martinis and no lunch. And we would always go there, and I was the only guy drinking gin and tonics. This is 2004, 2005. My friends were drinking vodka, soda, vodka cranberry. So finally we asked the bartender, and we said, Mr. Bartender, tell my friends that I'm smarter and more sophisticated than them because I'm drinking gin and tonics. He said, well, actually, nobody drinks gin anymore. People only drink vodka. He said, come to my bar and take a look, and you will see that there's 22 brands of vodka and only 2 of gin. So that kind of really amazed me because I'd never thought about gin relative to vodka being so small. I started drinking gin and tonics with my dad when I was 16 or 17 years old, and I remember one day when I was 16, my father said, son, you're a man, let's celebrate your manhood. I had a very different idea of what celebrating manhood really meant, but so I show up that night at 8 o'clock, and my dad gave me a whiskey neat, and I remember I drank it and I was in a hospital for a week, so I said, there's got to be a better way to celebrate your manhood than that. So the following Saturday, my dad was like, all right, that didn't go so well, we'll do it again. I said, Dad, can I give you some suggestions of what I would like to do to celebrate my manhood? But he wasn't open to that idea. And he gave me a gin and tonic that night. And I liked it so much more than the scotch, it became my drink. So fast forward to my 20s, and I saw vodka was ruling the day, and I said, look, gin had 2 problems. One was a problem with taste. Gin was very high strength, very heavy on the juniper, and it was something that the American consumers were not used to, something that was so heavy on the juniper and such high alcohol content. Most alcohols are 40% alcohol. Gin in the US was 47. And I said, if we can tackle this issue of taste, because ultimately people are not going to buy something twice or 3 times if they don't like the way it tastes. And also, since this is a luxury super premium product, it has to be something that makes them feel good. We have to develop an emotional bond. Some of those brands that are traditional developed an emotional bond with their consumers 200 years ago, but hadn't really been relevant since then. And so there was a huge generation, my generation, others, who just wouldn't refuse to drink them, and they graduated to vodka, which were more stylish and more exciting. So therein I decided I was going to quit my job, and I was very excited. I didn't really know what I was getting into, but I called my parents and I said, I'm quitting my job to launch my own gin. My parents are pretty traditional Indian parents who were very disappointed when I went to